Our Meet the Blackjacks segment has been going great. In fact, last week we had Kendrick Ings in here, and he had, 3 touchdowns in the first quarter of the game. So we were good luck. And right now, Antron Dillon is a member of the Blackjacks, defensive lineman, who I was mentioning. Antron, by the way, you were the biggest of the gentlemen who came in here. Dante Rumpf is a big man, but you are a very big man.
My big is a little different than his.
Yes. Yes. He's more big like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You tell him that, not me.
Well, he was a very nice man.
Yeah.
He could be the friendliest guy.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Yes. So, Antron, I mentioned to you before we got on the air, I said, you are kind of a vagabond in the league. And you said, well, that's kind of by choice. And I said, that's very interesting that you have the opportunity to kind of pick and choose and bounce around. You got to live in Arizona and Portland and L.A. and Jacksonville and Tampa and now in Atlantic City. So, I always find the stories of the players in this league to be so unique, and people, wonder how, the guys are in the Arena League, and how do you keep, having the passion and love? This has brought you all around the United States, man.
I mean, coming out, it was the experience, and I started in Arizona, and that was the one time that I left a team and I didn't have a choice, because we had an expansion draft, and I got drafted to the Portland team. So I kind of ended up there, and then I had opportunity to play in L.A. I've never been to L.A. I love L.A. But I think the football aspect of it, I think, you love the sport, and if you love the sport, then you're going to play it, with all your heart, and you're gonna give it all. And I love this game. It's unique, it's I think it's amazing. I think it's my NFL, so.
Yeah, no, and it's been so much fun to see the brand of football on a weekly basis. Like, if you're just casually watching it, you might be like, what am I watching here? But to get to learn it a little bit better. Now, you're someone. Now, you said you were in Tampa a couple of years. Now, Kendrick said he was in Tampa.
Yeah, that was my teammate.
So you guys were in Tampa together, and they loved it down there. Yeah, Tampa was a place that the Storm were very embraced.
And we had a great year. Actually, Coach James was the coach of that team. He's kind of our connection between a lot of us Tampa guys. Me, Randy Hilbert, the quarterback, Monte, my other DN, Kendrick. We have a good core group that we had in Tampa, where we had that Arena Bowl run. So once we was able to regroup and get these guys back together, and plug in a lot of new rookie guys, and I think we got a good thing going. We just got to get it all together at one time.
Now, take us back, Antron, to Kendrick last week had an interesting story. He never played any college football, like some junior college stuff, but very little.
Yeah.
You had committed to play at Vanderbilt, SEC. We had Dante on a couple of weeks ago. He played at Kentucky in the SEC, and then obviously you transferred. So your road to get to where you are now is very interesting as well.
Yeah, I guess naturally. And I guess that's in the view and in the path of God is for me to be kind of a journeyman, because I feel like, throughout my whole life I've moved around. I've had to overcome, certain obstacles and hardships, and I've always been able to just come on top. And just throughout that journey, I've seen so many parts of the country, and I've been so many places and met so many amazing people. I mean, I can't explain how grateful, and thankful that I am for the experiences that I have.
So Vanderbilt, and then you transferred to Southwest Mississippi Community College for 2 seasons.
I went home, and
you're from Louisiana.
Yeah, from Louisiana. I ended up Southwest had protected me, and I was actually at home working a job, and the coach called me and was like, "You need to go back and play football. You need to get back in school, or whatever." And
what were you working?
I was working at Winn-Dixie Warehouse.
All right.
I was loading trucks. That's what I was doing. I was a young kid, and it was a lot of money.
You made a good decision.
And I wanted to make money. Yeah, I wanted to make money right now, But I was thankful that I got that call, and, got signed up Southwest. I ended up going there, and then transferring to North Alabama is where I finished school at.
Now, it says here that you transferred to North Alabama. You played for them in 2007 after a 2-year gap. So you sat out and worked for 2 years and then went to North Alabama?
I went to North Alabama for a season, and kind of got that's when I had my son. I kind of got my girlfriend at the time had a kid, and we were put in a situation where I had to work, had to make money.
Yeah,
so
life happens.
Yeah, so I had to go to work, and I went to work for that while, and I had a 2-year rule in D2 where you come back and finish your had eligibility after 2 years. So I kind of build up my finances, and where I was able to come back and go to school and finish up. It was that's how I guess that was the role that I went.
Antron Dillon's our guest, number 91 for the Blackjacks. For those of you who have been at the games, you see big number 91 standing out there.
Yeah.
So how do you, kind of get your foot in the door to get, like, most people, their dream is maybe to play in the NFL. Maybe they go to the Canadian Football League or, other outdoor games.
Yep.
Where do you say, you know what, I want to get into do they reach out to you? Do you go down that road?
When I came out, when I ended up finishing school, was 2010. That was like during the NFL lockout that time, so I didn't get out a lot of opportunity, especially coming out of D2 too. I kind of like went to a couple camps and stuff, but this scout actually told me about the Arizona Rattlers, which is an amazing organization, which is with the AFL, but now they're with the IFL now.
Yeah.
But still an amazing organization.
They're still around.
Yeah, they're still around. They're still around, and they're still, doing their thing. But that's how I got introduced to arena football. Before then, I didn't really know about it. Everybody's striving to play at the highest level possible, but, the numbers games just don't lie. Everybody can't do it, or you don't get opportunity. Whatever happens in any situation where you just don't get the opportunity to stick in there. And I think that to play in America and play football, the arena football is the second best choice, to play, because you're getting ultimate competition. Like, a lot of guys on these teams are Big 12 and Pac-10 and SEC guys. These aren't just guys that play high school ball and want to just go and play arena football. All these guys have been in the league or played major, big-time college football at one point in time.
Yeah, you mentioned, Dante, SEC. You played Vanderbilt was where you committed to be in the SEC. So, obviously, at that time of your life, you're thinking, I'm in the SEC. I got my shot here, which makes the fact now, you mentioned this game, it is so fast, and you're a defensive player. How frustrating it is to be a defensive lineman when the guy's getting the ball out of his hands. That's what I think people don't recognize is – there was a story written, last week or 2 weeks ago, Sports Illustrated wrote this article about how the NFL is starting to kind of watch your guys' game about the speed.
Yeah, the speed of the game. The speed of the game is amazing. I mean, from you literally have 3 seconds. That is a step, a move, and if you're not getting to the quarterback, then you're not getting there. The game moves so fast, and from whistle to whistle, you have to, take from the outdoor game, you take your internal clock and you speed it up, 2 times faster. And that's where you need to be at. And if you're anything slower than that, then you're lost in the game.
So here's a question that I think about a lot as I'm watching the arena games, as I'm sitting there watching how fast and close you are to the action. If the NFL didn't come first and the AFL was all we knew, would the AFL have the same popularity? Would it be the sport that it is?
I guarantee it. I have no doubt. I believe wholeheartedly that if everyone knew about arena football and actually got to experience, going to a game, they will fall in love with it. Because the game, with you being so close and the game being so fast-paced, there's really no letdown, no lull in between the game where you're like, all right, I'm ready for it to get exciting. It's nonstop excitement from the start to finish. From the time they kick the ball off the nets and into the end of the game, you're like, wow, this is crazy. And you're so close, you get to interact with the players and the opportunity to get on the field after the games and come and sign autographs with the guys you just saw, hit people into walls and catch touchdowns. It's amazing for the kids. It's amazing for the audience in general.
By the way, Blackjacks are back in town. It's a 3:30 start this Saturday at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, taking on Baltimore. The Brigade are back in town. So it's the third game of the 3-game homestand. It's a 3:30 start. They had the 2 7 o'clocks, and now it is 3:30 against Baltimore. Now, I find this quirk in the schedule here. Baltimore comes here 3 times. You don't go to Baltimore at all, but you go to Washington twice, and they don't come here. I feel like the Washington guys are getting kind of screwed over. Baltimore is getting a great – coming to AC has got to be one of the best road trips.
Yeah, I know. Hey, we want to use that to advantage. Come on down to AC, enjoy the bliss and the blam of Boardwalk, and just have you a couple drinks while you gamble. Go ahead and do that. And then you come in there, and we're ready for you. So, but this is how the schedule ended up. I was surprised that we didn't go to Baltimore, but I'm not complaining about not going to Baltimore, so –
yeah, Baltimore will be here this week, and then you're on a 4-game road trip: Columbus, Philadelphia, Albany, Washington, and then you're back home with Philly. But how has the adjustment been to living in Atlantic City and kind of being on an expansion team?
This is, like I said, this is my second go-around expansion team. I was on the expansion team in Portland. I think that
Portland's a lot different than Atlantic City.
Yeah, it's a lot different. Way different, night and day. But Atlantic City, you get caught up with the boardwalk and the glitz and the glam. And you're like, oh, this is like baby Vegas. But once you get out, a little outside of the Atlantic City and into the little rural areas, the people are amazing. They accept us. Anytime I talk to people, like they go out of their way to like say hi, how you doing, and have conversations, even if they don't even know you're Blackjacks, and then they find out about the Blackjacks and they're like, oh, that's awesome. We love you guys. I was at a game. It's crazy how many people have been at a game that I've met around here. But
yeah, and the arena is definitely very unique against many of the arenas I'm sure that you've played in. This has got to be a totally different setting for a game than almost anywhere. I can't even think of a place that you would have played that would have this type of atmosphere.
It's historic. It's an older building, but the atmosphere when it's game time, it's amazing. Like the lighting and everything, and how the sound echoes. Just being in the boardwalk and having that big stage in the background. It's a one of a kind experience.
Now, how many guys on this team were you familiar with? I mean, that to me is one of the unique things about, especially like the time frame.
Yeah.
To me, it was very odd, like the fact that they announced a team, and then the fact that it was like boom, boom. Oh, you're having a game in like 4 weeks. I mean, there wasn't a lot of time for training. So, how many guys did you actually know when you were assigned to the Blackjack? First off, they didn't have a name when you probably were on the team.
Yeah. We kind of like the thing about the AFL is we're kind of like a tight knit brotherhood, so we kind of know everybody, not even just guys on the team, but guys on other teams, and we kind of talk. We talk to each other. So I knew kind of who was going to be on the team and who was going to sign before they signed, because we all talked to each other, and like I said, we were really trying to get that Tampa roster back together here because we like melded it together so well. And mentality-wise, work-wise, all of our guys were on the same page. So I knew a good half of the roster. Most of the rookies I didn't know coming into it, but a lot of veteran guys that was on the team I knew.
Yeah, you're one of the veteran guys on this team.
Yeah,
so you got that mix. But Antron, Dillon, the Atlantic City Blackjacks, you had when you go to a game. It's 91, definitely, your stature, and then Lamarck Brown. He's another guy.
Yeah,
you
Lamarck
look at him,
is huge. He looks like a D lineman, but he's a receiver. And I always, me and my other DN, Monte Lewis, we always like laugh when we see him out there, and he like big boys these little cornerbacks because he's like 6'3", 230 at receiver. So he's a big guy. He
is a big man.
Yeah.
By the way, Mark Lewis just walking around the hallways out here?
Oh yeah, Mark. He was on our team in Tampa as well.
Have you seen his trick kick that he did?
Yeah, I reposted it.
Yeah,
when I saw it. I was like, but he's been doing it for a while. He's one of the best kickers that's played the game now. He's got like highlights on the AFL commercials where he goes to kick this onside kick and he like back kicks it to the other side and like whoa, like it's crazy. But that kick. That field goal kick through the goal was crazy.
He's 45.
Yeah.
Still kicking around.
Yeah.
He lives in the Tampa area, right?
Yeah, he lives in Tampa.
Is that where you live in the off-season?
Yes, sir, in Tampa.
That Tampa's great.
Yeah, Tampa's, the weather all year round is amazing. If you can put up with a little heat in the summertime.
Ybor City, that's still the place?
Ybor?
Channelside?
Yeah, I love Ybor.
I told you that Dale Mabry, man.
Dale Mabry traffic is crazy.
Awful.
But you got to know when to navigate through it. If you know your way around it, you don't have to stay on Dale Mabry the whole time and you'll be fine.
It's a nice place, that Tampa.
It's
fantastic. So what do you do in your off season?
I'm a trainer at D1 Sports Training. It's also affiliated with the Trench. It's kind of the same company where we train football players, specifically like I train my position, D-line, D-end, how to pass rush, how to run block. We also do sports training as far as athletic training and teach them, get them big and strong and how to properly lift, because most high school programs, we all know you go in there you do what the senior does, and the senior doesn't even know what he's doing. So, they come in and it's more of a culture type thing like we have at this team at there, all of the guys, they, even though they play on different teams, they're like a brotherhood, the Trench, they wear the T-shirts and everything. So, I mean, it's a great experience for me. It keeps me around football and keeps me in shape.
Yeah, well, you're in fantastic shape.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Antron Dillon, number 91. When you go to the game, tell them you heard him on the radio.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's this Saturday, 3:30, Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City. Baltimore's in town. And if you haven't been to a game yet and you're like, man, I've been meaning to go, you better go this week because they got a 4-game road trip coming up. You won't be able to see them until July. Man, being on the road, you got Columbus on Friday night, Philly on Sunday, Albany, although you could drive up to Philly's pretty close to go check them out on June 16th, and then Philly will be here on July the 6th, and they'll close out the season July 21st. against Baltimore. And Antron Dillon, well, first off, we wish you health, man. Stay healthy the rest of the way.
That's the goal. Stay healthy.
And then, of course, success, and hopefully you guys pull out another dub at Boardwalk Hall. Albany was a tough game. Those guys are pretty good.
Those guys are really good. You know, the quarterback, Tommy Grady's one of the greatest to ever play in this game, you know. So, you know, that's a tough team. They're undefeated. We got to figure out how to beat them.
Well, Baltimore's in town. You beat them the last time they were here. A little scuffle at the end of that game.
Oh, yeah, man. It's like the team, the guys, the veteran guys that played last year, they played in Baltimore the year before.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of a little bad blood in between that. That's an inside thing. But, yeah, they coming off a big win against Philly, which is a great team in this league. We got to figure out how to beat them. It's hard to beat a good team twice.
Well, we wish you luck. We'll see you Saturday, 3:30, Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City. Antron Dillon is our guest here for our Meet the Blackjacks.